Welcome to the Indiana Basketball Postgame Show, live from Hoosier Hanks East. Now, here's your hosts, Todd Leary and Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of After the Game with Todd Leary. Indiana Basketball Postgame Show, as tonight Indiana takes on Nebraska in the quarterfinals, and they get ran out of the gym, 93-66. Welcome in, Todd Leary. How are you, sir?
Well, I was better 2 hours and 15 minutes ago.
Yeah,
but good.
I can
good
imagine.
Overall. It's championship week.
There you go. Tournament time. And appreciate everybody else joining us on the Andy Moore Honda hotline and hitting us up on the comments. Boy, they're getting them out there already. This kind of went
remember,
how
Jim,
I thought it would go.
So remember, I can't see the comments, so be sure and
say
what
I'll
they
throw
are.
them up there.
Yep.
This game kind of went how I kind of thought it was going to go. I texted you before the game. I said, they're not winning this game. Nebraska led the Big Ten in three-pointers made with almost 300. Indiana barely over half of that. And it was exactly like that. I didn't know it was going to be this big of a disparity, Todd. 90. I mean, they were up by 30. Indiana held to just 35% shooting from the field overall. And from behind the arc, they were 5 of 20. The free throw line was a great sign, though. They hit 13 of 13 tonight. Only 4 guys took hit free throws. Mackenzie Mbako, 7 of 7, led the way. Malik Renew goes 2 of 2. Kalel Ware goes 2 of 2. And who else? Somebody else. I'm losing the track of them. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But the night was for again Keisei Tominaga. 18 first half points. He eased off in the second half. He took it easy on Indiana. He finished with 23. But Williams also had 23. They had 2 guys with 23 points. But Tominaga was only 4 of 7 behind the 3-point line. It seemed like he was 19 of 20 or something.
Yeah, those 4 seemed like they happened all in about 3-minute span.
But Indiana just not able to stem that tide. And what was it about again, Nebraska hit the most 3-pointers of anybody in the Big Ten this year. So it's not like this came from Michigan or something. But boy, they just could not stop them.
Well, offensively is one thing for Nebraska, and I'll talk about that in a second. But defensively, this is what I was afraid of, was Fred Hoyberg is from the NBA. He's from a background of creating or trying to put together a game plan that's going to take away whatever you're good at. So if going into this game, the one thing I could have guaranteed you ahead of time was we were not going to be successful at throwing the ball inside all night long to Malik Renew and Kalel Ware. And so that was apparent from the first 2 times we played them. And if you watch any Nebraska games all year long, they are very dominant on taking away what is your strength. And so you're going to have to do something outside of that. And I'm not saying like all of a sudden Indiana needed to become a great 3-point shooting team, but they needed to come up with a different game plan. If you didn't think Fred Hoiberg was going to take away the inside, then you've not watched Nebraska play all year, because that's what they do. He's taken a page out of Tom Izzo's playbook, and he's taken a page out of Nick Saban's playbook, and he just all the good coaches, like, they go try to take away what your strengths are and have you try to make other people beat you. And Fred Hoiberg is straight out of the NBA. He's straight out of the analytics. He's straight out of the numbers. He's going to make you try to be uncomfortable and do stuff that you're not great at. And they said, hey, I don't care if you make 5 threes in a row. We're going to make you continue to beat us from the outside. And that's what they did. And then on the offensive end, Indiana, we didn't adjust to that at the beginning. We made some shots. We hung around for if you scripted this game out, we hung around for about exactly the amount of time you would say we were going to hang around for. And then all hell broke loose, and they started making shots. The real unfortunate part for Indiana, this game would have been different had Bryce Williams not gone crazy in the first half. And he made 4 3-pointers in the first half. I didn't look up the stats, but I bet he hasn't made 4 3-pointers in the month of February. But he made 4 of them to start the game out. He's not a 3-point shooter. Like he could make them, but it would be like Xavier Johnson starting the game out making 4 3-pointers. He can make them, but he made the first one, and then he was like, well, I'm just going to keep shooting until I miss, and he made 4 of them in a row. And by that point, they had already created kind of a comfortable situation. And look, Indiana is what they are. They weren't going to make crazy changes coming into the night. They didn't have in order to win this game tonight, you were going to have somebody play way above their expectation level. And I don't mean CJ Gunn coming in, because that was all in the second half, and it was when they were already down 20.
Yeah. That brings up a quick question. Fred Hoyberg has been at Nebraska for 5 years now, I think. The first 3 years were struggles.
Right.
They were here, and then all of a sudden they turned up, and then this year
this has all been in 1 year, because last year they were better, but they weren't like this.
Well, my question was going to be, coming from the NBA, did he have a learning curve? Because we obviously know that Mike Woodson has had one, but I don't know if these are the same things we're talking about, because obviously Hoyberg is much younger than Mike.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's an interesting philosophy and way to look at it. And, I think we saw Mike Woodson's frustration level tonight, getting ejected from the game.
He didn't want to see anymore.
Probably the first time. I think that's the first time that's happened in his tenure here at Indiana. But I mean, and he got tossed by DJ Carstensen, who is an official that I would probably say
you have to beg to get thrown out with.
It's the least. He might have whispered in his ear, "I'm just gonna call you something, and please get me out of here," kind of thing, because DJ Carson is not a guy that tosses coaches very often. I'll bet you can count the number of coaches he's tossed in his career in one hand. And Mike Woodson, I don't blame him. We don't look. Coach Knight's known as one of the greatest coaches of all time, and he got tossed numerous times. So that's no issue in it. I was tired of watching it. I don't blame Mike Woodson. What else are you going to do at that point? They were beyond beat at that point. And the real issue in question, I mean, where you and I go from this standpoint of it's middle of March, Selection Sunday comes on this weekend, and also the portal opens up on Sunday, and you're talking about a team with no incoming recruiting class from high school, and I think some obvious openings there are going to be, to say the least, from a roster standpoint. And so I think all of our attention needs to get directed, whether they play in the NIT or do not play in the NIT. Honestly, I don't care. All of our attention needs to get directed right now to who are the best players in the portal, and can we get a head start jump on them versus the teams that are still going to be in the tournament, because obviously we're not going to be in the tournament. So can we get a head start on them Sunday night or Monday morning? And hey, I got a list of my own, so I sure hope that coaching staff has a list of theirs.
Yeah, that would be something that you would think that they would be thinking ahead of. With the,
I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna throw this out there right now, Jim. I'm gonna tell you this: if I'm Indiana and I'm an assistant coach at Indiana, I've not heard this from anyone, but I'm gonna tell you this is what I watch Wisconsin's roster, and if AJ Storr or Connor Essegian, either one of them possibly puts their name in the portal, I offer them whatever they need to come to Indiana. AJ Storr is quite possibly the best scorer in college basketball. I mean,
And
he will be next year. He might be the Dalton Connect of next year. And for some reason, Greg Gard does not like him. He doesn't like his shot selection. Yeah, they have put the handcuffs on him so bad this year. It's unbelievable. He started the year out insane. Like, he was playing free and loose, and you could tell, I don't care who you are. If you're a basketball person, you go watch the last month. You watch all of February of Wisconsin games, and you see the handcuffs they put on AJ Storr in the month of February, and it's incredible. So hey, he may not put his name in the portal. I don't even know if he can transfer. I don't know how that rule works. Some people seem to be able to transfer four times.
There are no rules anymore.
Yeah, I know. Some people seem to be able to transfer 4 times. He's already transferred from St. John's to Wisconsin. So
how much do you think Rick Pitino wishes he had him back?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, AJ Storr is the Dalton Connect of next season. But on the flip side of that, Connor Essegian, a guy who started 19 games for Wisconsin last season, barely plays this year. He's averaging like 3 minutes a game in the Big Ten. He's from the state of Indiana. He is a very capable scorer. If they're not going to use it, they've got the Bradshaw kid that's also a freshman. AJ Storr's young. I'm not sure. I know Chucky Hepburn's coming back. So I don't know where Connor Essegian is going to fit into that. He made an announcement this week that he's coming back. I don't know why he made that announcement, but I think from a business perspective, if he opens that up and at least looks and to see what he's worth, I don't know what they're getting paid or what they make in Wisconsin, but I can almost assure you that the NIL collectives are bigger in Indiana than they are in Wisconsin. So I'm just saying, I'm ready for this thing to open up. I'm ready for it to go haywire right now.
You know what? With all the rules being thrown out the window, I think you should start the Todd Leary basketball auction house.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready right now. My own portal. I want to start my own portal.
Oh, there you go. That would be. There you go.
I've already started. I want Connor Hickman from Bloomington South, plays at Bradley. I want him to transfer in. I got a whole list already. Like, we should be able to get some of these guys. We've got the money to pay them now. We're allowed to say we're going to pay them now. So let's bring in. If we have nothing else next year, let's surround Malik Renew with 4 guys that can shoot the basketball. Honestly, if we have that, I don't think Indiana fans can complain about anything else that goes on.
Pete says Pete says you get kudos for for doing the show. Trust me, I appreciate that, because this may be I had the least desire to do a show tonight.
Yep.
Maybe of the season, but
hey, Jim, you know what? Credit to you and credit to him for saying that, because I'll tell you what, I want to get excited about Indiana basketball, and we've got to readjust our minds. It's not the NCAA tournament, but it's got to be where we're going to get a head start on everybody else for next year. And so we know Coach Woodson's staying. That's great. That's what I want that to happen. I just want to start building around it right now, and I hope that that's what we start doing.
Yep. Rachel agrees.
I don't think Todd what?
Oh, I didn't know you could see these.
I don't think Todd really.
I don't think Todd really wants to hear these comments.
No, bring it. Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm a sounding board for it right now, because I'll tell you what we just watched is miserable and frustrating. Rachel, all I can do is shake my head too. It was. We are not used. I've been saying this for far too long now, Jim. We are not used as Indiana basketball fans to being embarrassed, and we have had a lot of embarrassment we've had to endure this season. We've had a lot of blowouts. That's why our net ranking is as bad as it is. We've had a lot of close games versus teams we should have blown out, which is why our net ranking is where it is. The fact that we are going to beat Michigan State and Ohio State at the end of the year, and they're going to make the tournament, and we are not going to, fries my butt. And so I don't care what. I'll tell you this. I'm going to root so hard. I can't wait to do our shows preseason conference next year, because if we don't try to win 140-20, I'm going to be mad. Like, we better try to win every game by 100 points.
Well, there's certainly going to have to be a different roster type of construction, because what they've done, even when they've been successful, it's not been about scoring a lot of points. They control it, and they don't really push the ball up the floor unless you've got an Xavier Johnson in there that does. Other than that, they kind of slow walk it. But that's another discussion for another day. Zach says that the NIT, regarding NIT, he's been seeing where Ole Miss already said that they would turn it down. Why in the hell would Ole Miss turn anything down?
Here's the thing, Jim, though. I hate to say this, but it's like let's look at college football as an example. You remember how all the bowl games, if you got invited to a bowl game, it was a big deal.
Right.
But it's just different now. Like it's not the same thing as what it used to be. And when you do accept a bowl bid, some of the players opt out and don't play. You know, your best players don't play in it. And you deal with the same situation in this. So that in the NIT, I can tell you right now, Jim, and you know this, in the NIT, Khalil Ware's not playing, Mbako's not playing, Renew's not playing, Xavier Johnson's not playing, Trey Galloway's hurt, he's not playing. So I mean, who are we going to take to the NIT? Like, Caleb Banks is probably playing to try to see where he can transfer to. CJ Gunn looked like he was auditioning tonight for another team. I mean, are we going to put it out there so that these guys can really get more minutes? No. That used to be a thing years ago where you knew who you had coming back in the next season, and you were going to try to, build as much camaraderie as you could. It's 2024. That basketball no longer exists. And so the NIT, as great of a tournament as it has been for all of these years, I think it's about to fizzle out and go away.
Well, Seth says somebody's starting another tournament. Oh, Fox. Fox
yeah,
Sports.
but I mean, they did that. They did the CBI and the
Well, that was a joke. You had to pay to get in that damn thing.
Right, but it was all these different tournaments. Like, the point of those is obviously for teams to get more games and all that stuff. And the teams like Indiana, like, I'm telling you, by Sunday or maybe by tomorrow morning, how many names are we going to see in the portal by Sunday? I mean, the portal opens up Sunday. I don't know if it's Sunday morning or Monday morning, but whenever it opens up Sunday or Monday, we're going to have a legit number of people in that portal. So who's going to play in this game?
Once your season is over, you can announce. You can't officially enter it, but you can announce that I'm entering the portal as soon as your season is over. And
season's technically over, right?
Yes, it is done.
So I mean, so that's what I mean. Like, tomorrow morning / anytime this weekend through Monday morning, I'm assuming we're going to start to see several names. And hey, Jim, let's say this: if people are paying attention and still listening at 11:47 at night on Friday night, let's say this: when Malik Renew puts his name in the portal, that's expected. Don't everyone think, oh, Mike Woodson's lost this team. That's totally expected. He is going to see what his value is. This is a free agency market right now. And so there is no penalty for throwing your name in the portal. And he's going to put his name in there. He's from Miami. The University of Miami had an unbelievably terrible year after a great Final Four run last year. He's going to see what he's worth. If I were his dad, if I were a dad of any kid on this team, I would tell him to put their name in the portal and just see what you're worth, because it's a business. It's not. I know, and hey, I love Anthony Leal. I love Trey Galloway. I'm so glad they're Hoosiers. But I'll tell you this: if I had a son in that position, I would tell him it's admirable what you're saying you're doing. You're coming back for next year, but it's 2024. This is not 1990. This is not Bob Knight's 1990 team where the coaches need to hear that you're totally dedicated. No, it's a business now. It is totally different than what it used to be. So you kind of have to treat it that way, or you're behind everybody else. because that's the way other people are going to treat it.
Several Seth and Caleb saying that it's being reported that basically that Indiana is. I have not seen it that Indiana is going to turn it down,
And
but
I haven't. But Jim, I mean,
but I agree and I understand.
Yeah,
yeah,
right. It makes sense.
I get it.
They probably should. Who's going to play?
Well, you just made you made the best points about it. Matt says he doesn't think the NIT helps.
It's not what it used
Todd
to be. We all have to accept we all have to accept and understand basketball is different today. It's not what it was in 1990 where you show your loyalty and dedication to a program and all that. It's different. It's a business now, and these guys all can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so instead of us being worried about what they play like in the NIT, let's worry about what that portal starting tomorrow morning. Like, there's a ton of teams that get them blown out tonight. Like, look at today's schedule of games. I mean, Tennessee gets blown out, Kentucky gets blown out, South Carolina gets blown out. Like, there's a lot of good teams getting blasted today. Some of these teams will be in the tournament, some won't, but there's going to be a lot of guys in the portal between now and Sunday. And when they come out with that selection show, when teams like Bradley are not in there, I'm assuming, I don't know that, but you're going to have Connor Hickman, who's a guy from Bloomington and played at Bloomington South, that's averaging 15 points a game. That's a great three-point shooter for Bradley. I mean, is he going to throw his name in there to see what his worth is at Indiana? I would think so. I hope so.
Pete says that Woody wanted to get out and not have to answer any more questions, but he skips the media. I bet he doesn't, because he'll have to give up some of that $1 million raise.
$100,000 fine. Yeah, that's a couple $100,000 fine.
Yeah, he won't. He definitely will not skip the media. I promise you that. See, blown out of every season finale the last 3 years. Yeah, he's not lying.
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, you lose the last game, whether you're blown out or you lose by one, it doesn't really matter. The end of the season is what it is. The build up to this is what's bad. Like, you heard Robbie Hummel and Kugler talking about it tonight, in that, Indiana's played great in the last 3 weeks. Like, they really have. They've been one of the best teams in the league. Along with Ohio State's also played great in that scenario. But the hole they dug themselves in January and early February it's just too much to get out of. Like, you can't go not winning 2 games in a row for all of January and February and still expect to have a chance to dance in March.
Richard says, Todd, you are insightful and true as always, but the current coach also played for and learned from the same one you were there. So it's very, very confusing. Well, the other guy was off into another land for 4 decades.
It's true. And Jim, like, think about that. Okay, so I got coached and trained by Coach Knight for 5 years. Okay, I was fortunate / whatever for an extra year, so I had 5 years. Mike Woodson had 4 years. Okay, then he went to the NBA, and he was trained in the NBA for 30 years ish. So to think that wouldn't kind of override and trump what you're thinking would be nuts. And I'm with you. Like, hey, what Coach Knight instills in us, some of the life lessons I still put into place every week. But also, things evolve, and things get different and bigger and better and whatever they are. And no matter what anybody says, we all love. I was Coach Knight. Like, I am a Coach Knight, all bought in. But Coach Knight's theories and systems and the way that he did things would not work in 2024. And I am able to see that and understand that and accept it and try to figure out. This is why I, as much as we hate to say it, this is why Matt Painter is so successful, because Matt Painter takes this is a known fact. We all used to joke about this. Purdue, Gene Cady copied everything Bob Knight did. Every single our motion offense, the way we helped on defense, every single thing. They copied all of it. Okay? And then put their own little spin on it, which is cool. That was their part. They physicaled it up and they made it a tougher version of what Indiana did. Indiana made it a more skilled version. But then at this point, Purdue has adapted and taken parts of that and made it a hybrid and used today's offenses and ball screens and all that. And they have adapted it to today's game. And so that's why when you look at Purdue, I enjoy watching Purdue play because it's what I envision Coach Knight's teams would look like in 2024. Because Coach Knight in 1990 would not work today. It's as much as sad as it is to say, kids are different, teams are different, recruiting's different, the money's different. It's all different. And Coach Knight would not be able to accept it. I can tell you right now, there are kids on Indiana University's team that make more money than Coach Knight made during his career per year. Think about that. Like, it's different, and we have to accept that.
Jim asks, Todd, will we ever get it back?
I do think we'll get it back. I do think Coach Woodson has the ability to do that. I think some changes need to be made, and I honestly, I think some of the terrible losses, like 93-66 tonight, losing to Nebraska 3 times by 15 plus, maybe 20 plus points every time, getting blasted so many times this year. Also, I didn't know this, Jim, and I'll tell you, I'm the first one to admit I didn't realize how the net system worked, the Ken Palm system worked, how when we played Harvard earlier in the year, when we played Army earlier in the year, we needed to blast those teams. Like, we needed to win by 30. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that was that big of a factor. To know that our net ranking could be 30 points higher right now with the same win-loss record that hurts my feelings. I'm mad that I didn't know that. And so I hope that we all learn a lesson from that. Yeah. Do I think we can get back? I do. I hope that we all, the coaching staff, the whole program in general, learns from this scenario. And next year, when we play those early season games, I hope we schedule the worst teams in the country, and I hope we beat them by 50 every single game. And as bad as it is to say, if fans don't come, they don't come because they don't want to watch that. But at the end of the year, they'll come because then we're still in the conversations of the NCAA tournament, because that's what the Big 12 did this year. They scheduled the worst teams possible and beat the crap out of them and made all their net rankings higher. And then when they played each other, all their net rankings were basically eating each other up. So they were all just staying where they were up there because they were only getting beat by higher net ranked teams.
Well, you made Rachel's day once upon a time, class of 98. She used to never miss a game. Now there are times she wants to. By the way, she says, Todd, she has a picture of the two of you.
Oh, okay. All right. Hope we're fully clothed.
I was thinking that, but I didn't know how I was going to say it. That's just
hey,
boom.
It's
almost
kidding. Midnight. It's almost midnight. We can turn this into
just
R-rated,
kidding,
PG,
Rachel.
PG-13.
Just kidding, Rachel. What now, Patrick? I'm assuming you're just saying this as in jest. But did Woodson skip the presser? Are you saying that he did and that he stood up fish? I would find both of those hard to believe because that's part of what he gets paid to do. But so yeah, whenever you say that stuff,
hold on a minute. But this is the difference between, and it's not a knock on either side, but this is the difference between Jim and myself as a media person and just a schmo. Is if he skipped the press conference, I'm so mad and competitive in his situation, I'd have skipped it. I'd have been like, hey, I get paid $5 million. What's it cost me? $20,000 to skip this thing tonight? I'm skipping it. Now, $20,000 to me, yeah, I wouldn't skip it in my scenario. But in his scenario, if he skips it, he skips it. What's he going to say, Jim? What's he going to say, Jim? Honestly, you could probably dictate what he's going to say.
He got kicked out for a reason.
Yeah, but you could probably dictate what he's going to say. Like he's frustrated.
Well,
Look at this. Look at this scenario. We're all competitors. Like I'm sweating right now. I'm competitive. Like I'm mad that we lost to Nebraska. Fred Hoyberg is on I text message him before the game. Like we are friends, and I'm mad that we got beat by them. Like I'm competitive still at 53 years old. It still gets me fired up. And so think about Mike Woodson. It's his job. I hope he skipped it. I hope he's so mad he skipped it. I hope he's in there breaking shit right now.
Well, I don't think that that's the case. He's not quite hitting the cigars and wine just yet.
Oh, come on. You watch too much social media. Come on. He's competitive.
Kidding.
We know this.
He's got to take the private plane back. He can't be on it yet.
Agree. But listen, this is the truth. Mike Woodson, no matter whether you agree with his philosophies or don't agree with them, a lot of them I'll be the first one to admit I don't agree with. But he's from Indiana. He played for Coach Knight. He came back and is coaching his alma mater. If you don't think he wants to win as much as you do, you're wrong. He wants to win as much as we all do. I know that. I'm a schmo in Bloomington, Indiana, watching the game on a Friday night at 11 o'clock, and I want him to win so bad it's insane. And he wants him to win the same bad, I promise.
Oh, I don't doubt that he wants that. I don't think that he has the desire and understanding to do the things that you have to do in this day and age, and at the college level. It's way harder than what he thought. I think
what you're saying. I think there's a whole lot of to what you're saying. Like it's a big picture situation. I hope that this season has been so kind of frustrating that it really makes him sit back and look at it and reevaluate the entire situation and say, maybe we need to do some things different. Maybe we do some things the same, but maybe we do some things different because it's not working, and we've got to improve on some different scenarios. I can't see that. What's that say? Is that a shotgun? And Todd?
That's bullseye. Todd, bullseye.
Oh, it's so small on my little phone. I couldn't see it. It looked like a shotgun.
Oh, see now that I understand. If you're looking at, I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't know what that is.
I know.
So Indiana now has to pack it in, I guess. I mean,
start fishing in the portal.
Why would fans think that they're going to do better in the portal this year than last year? I mean, Khalil Ware was a great grab, no doubt.
I was going to say, first of all, they did pretty darn good.
But there was a lot of other spots that they needed to fill and didn't fill with the needs.
I'll say it this way: the portal it's a moving target. Okay, every single season it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to this year it's going to be a lot bigger than it was last year, and we thought last year was huge. This year it's going to be twice as big. The NCAA changed a rule where you're allowed to tell kids what they're going to get paid from the collective NIL deals that they're going to get when they come to your university. That's why Indiana lost Liam McNeely. They didn't lose Liam McNeely because of Coach Woodson's offense. They lost him because they're allowed to open the market back up. And now Kansas can tell him, we're going to pay you $1 million a year. And so Indiana can now go into those meetings with players and say, Connor Hickman at Bradley, we think that you're worth $200,000. This is what our collective NIL is willing to pay. I'm making numbers up totally off my brain sitting here. But the numbers are big. They're huge. These guys are making a lot of money. And schools like Indiana and, Ohio State and the big universities have a lot more money to deal with than some of the smaller schools. And that's just a fact of life of the way it is. And so Indiana's got a lot of money to deal with.
Richard says, what's your honest assessment of Hummel as an announcer? I like Robbie.
I love Robbie Hummel's the best announcer in all of college basketball, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he does a great job.
I love him with Benetti. I love him with Kugler. I love him with every single person they put him with, which tells you he's the common denominator. Like, I think Robbie Hummel, if we could get him to stop saying hanging on rims. Like, he says hanging on rims way too much. But other than that, Robbie Hummel is the best announcer in all of basketball.
Next time I talk to him, I'll tell him you said that.
Please
Quit saying hanging on the rim.
Leary said stop saying hanging on rims.
Oh, man.
There's only one rim you can hang on, and stop saying it.
Oh, mercy. What do the players do? Who do you expect to stay besides the obvious? Trey Galloway.
Yeah.
Which I know you said that they suggested they do it anyway, but
here's the interesting.
That doesn't leave very much.
If I'm Malik Renew, I put my name in. Like I think Malik. I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to tell him what to do. I think Malik Renew will put his name in. I think Khalil Ware will see what the NBA says, and if he's going to get drafted in the top 20, then I think he'll go. I think Mbako's in that same scenario. I think the last 2 or 3 games really helped Khalil Ware, for his draft status. I think tonight really hurt him.
Yeah, well, see, we've seen him do that a lot too. Have a great game and then disappear.
Yeah. Well, here, look. If there's any knock on at all, it's the fact of big, strong physical people can impact him. And look, he's got some physical attributes that other guys are never going to have because they're God-given. Like his length, his long length, and ability to get off the floor are God-given. And he's developed those talents. When you get like guys from Nebraska tonight that will never get out physical to him, there's a chance that they use that against him.
I'm gonna remove Todd for a second. His connection's cutting up a little bit, and I'll see if it gets better. Your connection's cutting up a little bit there, brother. So I took you off there for a second. So it's still bad. I'm going to have you go out and come back in, and Todd will get back on here, and we'll have him reconnect. See if he can do that while I'm sitting here killing time. There you go. So he'll connect back and get back on here. Looking at some of the comments over here. Nebraska fan, Paul, at least you guys are relevant to have a chat. Well, you know what? It's not a positive one, and it's not a fun one, Paul, but appreciate you jumping on. So there you go. And Todd back with us now. And I was just talking about Paul, a Nebraska fan, says at least you guys are relevant enough to have a chat. So, yeah, well,
hey, I can appreciate humor, bud. I get it. We got smacked by them so many times this year. I get it.
Oh, I mean,
you want to hear the funny part, Jim? I was just sitting here talking that entire time. Can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah, I can.
I was just sitting here talking.
Well, you're cutting out again. Boy, you got a squirrel chewing on your line right there. The hump keeps coming back. The hump. Indiana's Lady Lovely humps. That's what that was like. Patrick says that he did skip fish after the show and sent Yazir Roseman. He did go to the press conference for the media. That would have cost him a crap ton of money if he didn't, like he said. Let's see. Kevin says face the music. He's kind of taken his the excuse train to not doing that. Kent says Fish explained that Woodson was contractually bound to do the Big Ten presser first, thus not allowing him to come on the postgame radio show. So, Kent, thank you, first of all, for clearing that up for us. So we know what exactly went on there. So now we know. Waiting for Todd to rejoin us here. No, you cannot say shit on the radio, but you can say it here, fortunately. Normally, I don't, when we're on radio, I don't say that. I shouldn't say it now. There could be someone young listening. I shouldn't do that. So I apologize. MyJumpShot.com is back with us now. Speaking of the devil, very clear sounding as well. Justin was reminding us that you cannot say shit on radio, and I'm like, well, that's good because you can say it here because we're not on radio tonight. So that's awesome. We got that going for us, which is nice. So yeah, there's the old wish in one hand and crush a cigar in the other and see which one fills up first. Ooh, that was quick. That was very, very quick. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. Roster construction. Going into this portal, you talk about the portal, roster construction. What do they got to do? Who do they got to get? I don't know that Todd can hear me. Well, he's muted. He doesn't understand that he's muted. There we go. He's figured it out. There you go. Yay. Yay. He got it figured out.
Can you hear me now?
Boy, we can make a commercial. Can you hear me now?
I don't know how I got muted on that. I restarted everything. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, whatever. My fault. I screwed it up.
What I was asking was, Indiana has to go into the portal now. They have to focus on recruiting, focus on constructing a roster that can win. What do they have to get? Who do they have to? Boom.
They got to get guys that can shoot jump shots. And Robbie Hummel said it tonight. Stephen Bardo said it last week. Every announcer that we've had all season long, when you go to the halftime breaks, they all say the same thing, in that this team can't shoot. Like, until you can shoot the ball and spread the floor, I don't care how good Hayward and Malik Renew are, they're not going to be effective consistently because teams are going to be able to take stuff away, just like Nebraska did tonight. And they came in, they had a game plan, and they said, if Indiana makes 15 three-pointers, they're going to beat us. Obviously, they didn't. They made 2 throughout the majority of the game, and then A.J. Gunn came in and made 3 of them, and they ended up making 5 for the game. But they made 2 throughout the important part of the ball game, and that's not going to win any games in the NCAA.
Jim asks a great question. Will Woody change? We've seen the same thing for 3 straight years, even though we were told specifically that this offense was going to be different. And it was actually a carbon copy almost of what we've seen for the 2 previous seasons.
Here's what scares me in this scenario, Jim, is Coach Knight was not great at change. Like,
no,
he had a system,
but he also won 3 national championships and 10 Big Ten titles
over a very small group of time, and the game has just changed. And so I think that every single year, I think the best coaches, I think Tom Izzo's a different coach now than he was 20 years ago. I think he does things differently. I think he handles things differently. I think coaches adapt and grow and change and evolve and all those words. And I hope that Coach Woodson evaluates this season and realizes he has not valued jump shooting. Like, I'll defend this straight to his face anytime that he would ever want to have the conversation which I know is never, but he does not value jump shots. And I don't understand why, because he was a good jump shooter. But guys today that can spread the floor have a bigger value. And the game is changing. 7 years ago, Jim, at every single AAU tournament, every single kid was long and athletic and big and physical and all that. And those were all the kids that were at the Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas tournaments. It's changing. Now it's guys that can make shots, the Liam McNeelys of the world, the Cooper Flaggs of the world, the guys that can spread the floor. Let me ask you this, Jim. Just look at our fan base. Who did you hear more about? We followed this team, Montverde Academy, all season long. Who did you hear the most about? Derek Queen or Cooper Flagg and Liam McNeely? Which one did you hear the most about?
Cooper Flagg
and Liam McNeely. Because they can shoot the ball. Derek Queen is he's a good player. He's a Malik Renew. He is almost identical to Malik Renew. And he's very valuable.
He's a straight up post player.
So is Malik Renew. Very
valuable. But he'll step out and shoot it a little bit.
Yeah, and I get it. And hey, 2 years from now, so will Derek Queen. Okay. But in today's world, for what they are, that's what the reason why Malik Renew is not being talked about in the NBA draft. Think about if you gave Malik Renew Khalil Ware's body. But he doesn't have, and he's 6'8" with a regular wingspan and not crazy jumping athletic ability. And he is a fantastic player. For college basketball, I love Malik Renew. I don't want him to do anything different, except for I want him to start having the ball in his hands more. I want him to do more. But surrounding him with a bunch of guys that can shoot the ball is only going to make his life that much easier, because you can't double team. Look, if you're going to double team, you have to leave somebody open. That's college basketball or in any basketball 101. You're going to double team, somebody's going to be open. And you can't leave guys open that can shoot the ball. End of the story. 3-pointers will kill you. We just watched it beat us 93-66. So you look at this scenario and you're like, what does Indiana need to focus on? They need to focus big time on shooting the basketball.
Yep. Ed,
what'd that say, Robbie? What?
He was at Legends Sports Bar down and Grill down there in French Lick.
Gotcha.
Larry's old place. Still has a lot of his stuff in there. Yeah, there's not a change is not going to be made, guys. So everybody that's still talking about a potential coaching change, I will ask you this though. Speaking of coaching changes, you've got two jobs very, very close by in Louisville and Ohio State
and Michigan.
But Ohio State I bring up because, first of all, boy,
is this the Mike Davis scenario all over again?
Yeah, they're kind of, but I keep hearing Dusty May's name now. I think that FAU they're stretched. They're paying him probably what they can pay him. He got a new 10-year contract after last season, so they're probably paying him what they can pay him, and which is not what Ohio State can pay him, or damn sure not what Louisville can pay him, or what Michigan could pay him. But Michigan does not put the kind of money into basketball that people would think. They put a lot less into it than most programs, shockingly.
Yeah, but Jim, like I said on your Indiana Sports Beat radio show earlier this week, and that is, people said this about Mark Few at Gonzaga for about, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years in a row. They kept saying, is he going to leave? Surely he's going to leave. Look at the money. He can't possibly turn that down. He could have gone to Duke. He could have gone to Kentucky. He could have gone anywhere he wanted. And if there is a person, like I'll tell you, I know Dusty May personally, and I'll tell you, I'm not saying he's going to stay at Florida Atlantic, but I will tell you, there's a significant chance he stays at Florida Atlantic, only because Dusty May's that kind of person. He's going to evaluate the overall situation versus the money. And I don't think that I think the money that Dusty May makes is plenty, and Dusty May probably still feels like he's overpaid for getting to do something that he loves to do and is really good at. And he may prove it all wrong. And this is what Michigan and Ohio State can do. Maybe they don't do it in general, but this is what they can do. They can throw a number at him that's outrageous. They could throw $10 million a year at him. They can make him the highest paid coach in all of basketball. I mean, they could do that. They have that kind of money. So could you turn that down? I mean, if you're Dusty May and you've got a great scenario and a great situation and you love where you are, and they say we're going to give you $10 million a year guaranteed for 6 years, $60 million, that's a different scenario.
Yeah, and how pissed off would Indiana fans be if he wound up at Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, hey, this is – you got to chalk some things up to life, and this is just the timing of life and the way things happened, and when the Coach Knight things happened, and when we hired Mike Woodson. It's the scenario of it's just the way it's supposed to work out. It is what it is. I don't think Dusty May will leave, but I could be wrong. It would be very hard to turn down a gross amount of money. He makes a lot of money. What they can pay him is a gross amount of money. So, I mean, I don't know. It'd be hard to turn that down. But you're also going to be saying the same thing from Josh Scherz at Indiana State. Like, somebody's going to pay him a lot of money, I'm sure.
What hell? He only makes $356,000 now. That's crazy.
That's probably what Dusty May made prior to last year.
Yeah, I don't think you're far off. I think it was like 400,000 maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it was something in that scenario. Like, that's what it's not all we get spoiled because we root for a team
those
that
numbers
has
out first of all that it was only
like,
400,000.
oh my gosh, how's he live on that? Yeah, right. But at the end of the day, like Jim, we support a team that has an open checkbook. Like look, we root for a Power 5 team that has pretty much unlimited money in that scenario. So when we talk about coaches' amounts, what is the lowest paid coach in the Big Ten make? I mean, it's probably Chris Collins. I'm only saying that because it's Northwestern and they're a smaller university. So I'm going to say like a couple $1 million. I don't know. Which is probably still way more than Dusty May makes.
Yeah, I think Dusty probably makes a less than $2 million.
Yeah, $1.5 million plus incentives or things like that. But I'm guessing like
living in Florida.
Yeah, we'll
let you live in Boca Raton.
Hey, look, we're talking about different amounts of money. Like it's all crazy. It's crazy world. But for what it is, like we know Mike Woodson's going to be here. And I certainly hope. Let's go back to the original question of can he change or will he change? And when you ask somebody to change, it kind of offends them because I think that makes them feel like they're wrong.
I think everything offends Woody.
And I don't disagree with you, but I will say this. Let's just hope that they adapt to – look, the portal is new this year. It's not like we have to adapt to something that's been this way for 30 years. It's brand new. Just all adapt together. We can change ourselves because it's a new entity we're dealing with, and the portal is nuts. Like we're not used to. Hey Jim, think about this. If you'd have told me back in my day that kids were going to be making $1 million a year playing at Indiana University, I'd have thought you were crazy. So let's fast forward this 30 years from now. Our kids at Carmel High School going to be making $1 million a year? And I know your answer is going to be, that's insane. But that's what you would have said 30 years ago about Indiana University.
Yep. Hell,
I mean,
not that long ago. 10 years ago.
Where is it going? Like it's just COVID messed up all of our brains. Because now we're just willing to pay college kids insane amounts of money for doing the same thing they've been doing for free.
That's it. So it's back to the drawing board for Indiana, as they'll have to wait to see what the fallout is from the transfer portal at all. But before I get to all that, don't forget myjumpshot.com for those of you that have kids. No people that have kids. I'm telling you, I've had people contact me in the last week that have kids that are playing, I believe still playing in the tournament, which I am going to Newcastle tomorrow. As a matter
Tell
of
him
fact,
I said hi because I met with him this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I will.
I fixed him. I'll bet you he goes off tomorrow.
That'll be something to talk about if that happens, and that very well could. But I'm going to go up to Newcastle, watch Jeffersonville and Lawrence North. Also, there's another game the early game. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it to the 10 a.m. game for
Mighty
Newcastle.
Wildcats. The Mighty Wildcats. Watch out.
Was that your all's deal?
No, I totally just made that up. Wildcats. I see Wisconsin do that all the time, so I totally just made that up for the Wildcats. No, they never did that.
Well, you know what? You could start
it's 12:24 at night. I've never done a show at 12:24 before either. So there's that.
And we had planned to do a much shorter version tonight.
It's been fun. Like, hey,
once it gets rolling, it's rolling.
Thinking about the portal, I mean, honestly, like I get excited to get hey, Jim, think about this. Like literally think about this. Our football program was in the toilet in November, middle of November. And right now, we got people every day, and I'm one of them, begging for the spring game to happen like immediately. Like we can't wait to watch the spring game. So the basketball, we're Indiana, we're basketball. It's different. It's different here, right? So the season basically ended 45 minutes ago, and I got our team scouted for next year already. That's how nuts we are.
Hey, before I forget as well, for those of you, I know half of you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, so make sure that you please do that so you do not miss any content, because there's going to be we'll have more shows throughout the postseason or the after the season for Todd to do until we get back around till football comes. And then right shortly after that, basketball will be back again. But basketball season doesn't end in Indiana. Now you've got recruiting. You've got summer basketball. You've got AAU. We've got all kinds of things. Be having lots of the offers that IU has made. We'll have them on the show as well coming up. So
what's your favorite snack? What's your favorite snack at night, Jim?
Oh, man.
I'm a grape eater. I like grapes. I'm a grape eater.
See, that's a great healthy snack.
I just like them. They're sweet. They're sweet, and
that's a great healthy snack. I love grapes. I wish I'd have been eating grapes instead of what I've been eating. They've got a lot less calories. Big thanks to everybody, of course. Don't forget, brought to you by Hoosier Hanks East over off of College Mall Road, home of After the Game with Todd and Leary. Normally that's where we are, but these late night games kind of puts a kibosh on that. But hopefully we'll be back out there with more shows, like I said. And then, of course, you can tune in to Indiana Sports Beat Radio each Monday through Friday right here on YouTube if you're not in one of our radio areas. But that's why you need to subscribe. So big thanks to everybody that joined us tonight. Cannot thank you enough. And thanks to you all that are listening now that weren't listening to us when we recorded this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does to me.
But we appreciate all you guys. Big thanks, of course, to our analyst, Todd Leary, the star of the show. And until Monday, I'm Jim Coyle. I'll see you on the radio.